I know there's not much that I can say that would make things any better right now, but I just want you to see in my eyes how sorry I am for the comments that I made yesterday. I know that it hurt many people, especially friends, teammates, former teammates, loved ones, people that I care and respect deeply. That was never my intention. I wish I would have laid out what was on my heart in regards to the George Floyd murder, Ahmaud Arbery, the years and years of social injustice, police brutality, and the need for so much reform and change in regards to legislation and so many other things to bring equality to our Black communities. I am sorry, and I will do better, and I will be part of the solution, and I am your ally.
These comments from Drew Brees, of course, from an interview that he did with Yahoo Finance a couple of days ago, where he was asked specifically about kneeling during the national anthem, said he did not agree with it for a variety of reasons. We're going to start with you here, Stephen A. What do you think about Drew Brees' second apology?
Well, listen, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he has a body of work prior to these comments that folks were telling us was relatively exemplary. And that's really what it comes down to. He was clearly insensitive, highly tone deaf, and it came across as very, very offensive to an abundance of people, practically everyone in the Black community that I know. There's no way around that. He should not have said what he said. It had nothing to do with the flag, number one. Number two, and more importantly, as we've repeatedly regurgitated throughout the years, Colin Kaepernick wasn't kneeling to disrespect the flag. A matter of fact, he was kneeling because he was told that would be a respectful way to protest and bring attention to racial oppression, racial inequality, police brutality, and things of that nature. The fact that Drew Brees took the position that he took, completely and repeatedly ignoring the position while parroting the speech that our president gave once upon a time at a rally, which spark plugged and spearheaded a lot of folks in the NFL really taking the positions that they took against that. Drew Brees should have known better. Having said all of that, this is Drew Brees. This is a man. I'm not talking about Drew Brees, the player, the 13-time All-Pro, the future Hall of Famer, the Super Bowl champion. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about a guy that has been the face of a resurgence that's been taking place in New Orleans for years, post-Hurricane Katrina era. I'm talking about a guy that spearheads a foundation that's given over $35 million to causes and has really provoked other businesses to get involved in the quest to help uplift disenfranchised and displaced people throughout the city of New Orleans. When you have that body of work to lean on, certainly you can condemn and engage in significant condemnation about his comments and how wrong and insensitive and tone deaf they were, without giving the guy a death sentence. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be criticized. He didn't deserve to be called on the carpet by Malcolm Jenkins, by Richard Sherman, by Michael Thomas, by Emmanuel Sanders, and so many others. I'm not saying he didn't deserve that. What I'm saying is that he apologized on Instagram. He apologized to his teammates. You know, he's had to face the music. We get to see what he does from here in terms of his actions and the words he chooses to use. But let's refrain from giving him the death sentence, because when you have that body of work to lean on, you deserve another chance. And that's all I'm saying.
Seemed to me that he was sincere, and furthermore, it doesn't really, sincerity is not really the issue here. The issue is behavior that people are concerned with. I think, as I said, Drew Brees made similar comments in 2016. No one batted an eye. I and others said, wait a minute, that's not so great. But that reflected mainstream sensibilities. 4 years later, things were good 4 years ago, relatively, in this country. And 4 years later, they're very bad and getting worse. And so we've changed as a culture, as a society, for lack of a better word. And now he says the same thing, and he's castigated from all corners. And it must be confusing to him. So Brees doesn't show me that he understands every nuance, but he shows me, well, wait a minute, I want to be a good guy. How do I be a good guy? And I think this really comes down to the difference between patriotism, which is good, and nationalism, which is not. nationalism is you love your country because you're from there, because you maybe have a history there, and everyone else has to love it too, and it's really separate from how your country behaves. Patriotism is loving your country and wanting it to live up to its ideals. It's not simply a blind love, and also patriotism doesn't force itself upon others. And I think what Drew Brees is really, and there's huge overlap here between these kind of socio-political, or really in this case political issues, and racial issues, but they're not exactly the same. So Drew Brees, I think, crossed over from patriotism to nationalism. Once upon a time, that was okay, but now people are saying, well, wait a minute. Those who have a problem with nationalism, who have been hurt by this country, are not okay with that. So, for example, he points to his two grandfathers who fought in the Second World War. I'm Jewish. I'm glad they did. I'm glad America fought. All races and colors and creeds fought in the Second World War for this country. However, it must be pointed out, Drew Brees is from Texas. If his Texas was segregated in the 1940s. Maybe not everyone feels exactly how he does. Not everyone has to. And furthermore, to love one's country is not necessarily to take it or leave it. It's to try to make it better. And especially, I think that's relevant for African Americans who love their country. Why would they not want to, and want white people to want to make things better? So there are complex and overlapping issues that Drew Brees seems not to understand. But I like the fact that he's saying, look, even if I don't get it all, here's where my heart is, here's what my values are, and I'm willing to listen.